So let's go over some guidelines for this. Always read documentation.
Yes.
Nobody does it. Read the documentation. It's very important. How do you think Batman became Batman? He reads docs. He doesn't have any Superman powers. He's not a superhero. He knows how to use his devices very well. He reads documentation. We used to have that in the place I used to work. Read docs. Hold the connector, not the cable. They're saying hold the end of the connector. Don't hold the cable trying to put it into a plug and plug it in. It's never going to work right. You know, just little things. Inspect the connector and port for damage. That's important. If you see that the HDMI is not working correctly, and this is really important back when we had VGA, the old projectors in class that ran analog to the VGA, there's pins in there. If you looked at it and the pins were bent or there was missing pins, you knew right away it wasn't going to connect correctly. Some of the missing pins represent colors, so I would plug it in. This happens to me because I've been teaching over years. And then I'm like, where did color blue go? Well, that's because the pin for blue is out of the connector. It's not going to make blue by itself. Take care to align the connectors carefully. Don't use excessive force. That's especially true with USB. Thank God USB-C type connectors out. My wife, I'd be like, can you please plug that in over there, plug it in the USB? She believed if she pushed harder, it was going to go. And I'm like, it's probably upside down. You're going to break the connector on the side of the laptop. Check whether the device requires an external power source. Just because you plugged it in the USB, yeah, it's going to be seen to the motherboard and communicate with the OS. It may need external power because the actual power is above what the USB supports. So as we went through them, I should have highlighted them, but I did that last. Uh-oh. It is time for questions again, my people. Wake up. I like to make sure you guys are awake. Here we go. A remote user has requested a Dvorka keyboard for use with her Windows 10 computer. The device has arrived and the user connected it to the USB port. She contacts the support saying that the keyboard isn't typing properly. What is likely the cause of the issue? Is the keyboard mad? Maybe it doesn't like her. No, that's not it. She needs to go into the keyboard layout and pick the specific keyboard layout she was using in the previous keyboard. So the appropriate keyboard layout has not been selected in settings, and you need to adjust that. So that's an easy ticket. People, we're going to be like, hey, we're going to just roll over there. We're going to fix our keyboard. Or we can go in remotely and do that because we can access anything remotely. You are contacted by another remote user. The user has a laptop and a desktop. The user wants to know if there's a device that would allow them to use the same display without having to switch cables over and over again. And you're like, I took my class at ITU. Anton was my instructor, and he told me there's a KVM. KVM, keyboard video mouse. It's a very stupid device. It doesn't have a lot of software technology. It's just connecting ports. Remember, you're going to see it a lot in server rooms or in training areas or even in video editing setups like it is behind me. You have finished copying some files to a USB memory stick. What should you do before unplugging the stick? Yes, we're going to eject that stick. And why do we do this? Does it mean that we're going to always corrupt the USB drive if we don't eject it? No. And, if there's something being copied to it and you're not paying attention and you pull the stick, yeah, you're going to do a lot of damage. You're probably not going to get that transmission completed correctly. And we're always going to choose to do the safely remove hardware icon because that is going to make sure we don't destroy any data. So just, safety precautions, let's do it. Congratulations, you have made it through the first complete chapter and experience for this training course. Give yourself a round of applause. Give me applause. All right, we all did well. We learned a lot of information here. We all did well. We learned a lot of information here. And we're going to go on to our second chapter in just a second. grab yourself a break. It's important to break and refresh before going through more material. I'll see you back in chapter 2.